Welcome to another edition of the Wranglers Roundup. My name is James Poovey, alongside my broadcast team, Mr. Ed Cole, our color analyst, and our sideline reporter, Kevin Derryberry. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are once again pleased to be joined by a couple of outstanding coaches for the Northern Arizona Wranglers. We're going to bring those guys on here right now. Coach Jayson Pena, he coaches the defensive backs, and Coach Darren Hudak, the wide receivers coach for the Northern Arizona Wranglers. Hope you guys are doing great tonight. We appreciate you taking the time, and we're going to have some fun here tonight and talk some football. What do you say?
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Another day in
paradise. Thank you.
We appreciate you guys' time very much. Let's just get started with Coach Hudak. He's going to be coaching the wide receivers for the Northern Arizona Wranglers this season. Coach, let's rewind a little bit to start off telling us a little bit about your coaching history. You're a local guy from the Prescott area, having attended Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in the past. Give us a little brief history on your coaching.
Yeah, I guess, JP, I'd go back to my days as a player. I went to University of Northern Iowa for college, played there from 2005, 2008. Then from there, had some opportunities to play indoor. So with doing that, as well as managing a full-time job, we kind of moved here in 2016, just hit our 5-year anniversary right here in Prescott Valley. And once my kids got old enough to start playing football, I didn't plan on coaching, but then that first practice, the coach needed help, and then one thing led to another, and I've been doing it ever since. So with that in mind, I'm really, really excited to be coaching at this level because we have a phenomenal coaching staff. So I'm really enjoying learning from all of them and, how to translate what I know and the level I know it at to this level, working with some phenomenal athletes and phenomenal players.
Coach Pena, it's on you, sir.
There we go.
There you
How
go.
you guys doing?
Good, sir. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Coach.
Well, actually, I'm a military guy right out of high school. And I was on the M1 Abrams, one of the most sophisticated tanks in our arsenal in the Army. After that, I kind of did some college there right after the military, and then had a chance to go and play for UNM, University of New Mexico. I went there under Coach Francione, and in spring ball, decided to blow my knee. Didn't come back. They kept me out for about 8 months. Didn't come back like normal. So we had to wait a little longer, and then kind of just missed my window, and dabbled in some amateur football and some semi-pro stuff for a while. Got into coaching back in 2009 and started coaching indoor in 2011. And with Coach Dominic Bramante, I met him in 2014 and been with him ever since.
Outstanding, Coach. Going back to Coach Hudak, what are your thoughts? Tell us a little bit about why Prescott Valley, why the Northern Arizona Wranglers. Talk about the fit with you and Coach Bramante and the rest of the staff there, Coach Hudak.
You know what? I think Coach would agree, and hopefully Coach Pena would agree with this too, that it was just kind of a thing that was meant to be. Like I said, I've been here 5 years, working at Embry-Riddle. And I'm a professor and career counselor over there. So, I really get to use some of the principles of coaching in my day-to-day work with the students and how they can prepare for a successful career. So when it was probably, August, and I saw that there was kind of murmurs that there might be indoor football coming to Prescott, and I thought, if it's the right fit, I got to see if there's any help I can lend. And then when I heard the coaching staff was announced, I, had heard Coach Bramante a little bit and what he had done Duke City with his staff. And I noticed that there was no wide receivers coach listed. So I said, hey, you know what? I got to get in touch with him today, because if not, I'm sure he's got plenty of qualified individuals reaching out. And I made it simple and said, hey, Coach, do you want to grab some dinner and talk about if there's any ways that I can help out? And, if you know Coach B, I mean, once you say dinner, that's a lock with him. So he brought me on. They were having a Zoom meeting that night as a staff, and he brought me on, and it was kind of just rapid fire talking about my background and how it might fit. And then it's just taken off from there and been amazing.
That is so cool. Coach Pena, just piggyback off of Coach Hudak and tell us how you feel about Prescott Valley having a football team and you being involved, a major part of the Northern Arizona Wranglers.
This is a great opportunity. I actually lived in Phoenix. I moved here in 2014. And when we were coaching the Duke City Gladiators in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I would travel back and spend the season there coaching with Coach Bramante. So, when we didn't do anything last year, obviously, and 2019 was our last year coaching together. We took a year off, and this presented itself. Coach called out of the blue and said, "Hey, what would you think about coaching Prescott Valley right up the road from you?" And I'm in. Came up here. I'd never been up here. I knew Matt Kayward. We'll back up a little bit. I knew Matt Kayward before I knew Coach. Him and I were palling around for a while. And I guess there's a little inside joke. I guess I was his agent at the tryout. So I guess that was me. Surprise. So, listen, Matt was from here. He drove me out here once in 2014. We passed through it briefly and hadn't been back since. But I'll tell you what, ever since coming up here for that press conference, I've been trying to get back as much as I can. And now I'm here and we're ready to go. What a beautiful town, beautiful community, beautiful people. They've been so welcoming here. It's been such a 180 from what we're used to. And we've been accepted from everybody. It's amazing out here.
Coach Pena, first and foremost, we're out here in the Southwest. We've got a lot of Latin presence out here. So what is the correct pronunciation of your last name? I'm sure you heard it a cajillion different ways, but what do you prefer?
Well, I'm from Idaho, a little town called Nampa, right? Idaho. Yeah, right outside of Boise there. And
Coach, that's the 208, right? The 208?
That's correct. The 208. That's correct. And I had a chance to play at, Boise State in high school against a guy named, you might remember him, his name was Jake Plummer.
Jake
Plummer. Played old Jake Plummer, Jake the Snake on the Smurf turf there at BSU.
Nice.
Jake was pretty good. He was pretty good, Coach. Yeah. He
was really good. He whooped us. He whooped us pretty good. It's the correct pronunciation. If you're from Idaho, you say Pena. Like I got a pain in my side, which to a lot of people, maybe I am. I'm definitely that pain in the side that they say I am. So, but yeah, the correct pronunciation is Pena. So,
Coach Pena,
I say Pena. Yeah, I've heard so many other names, so let's not go there. So.
First of all, thank you for your service. I can't imagine what that would be like. I know just the idea of manning a tank or being involved in that tank program. I'm sure there's a lot of glory with that conversation, but so much more depth that goes behind that. So appreciate your service. But just what's that like from a military aspect to get to bulldoze some people there, at least if nothing else, to prepare for what could be in battle, but just that preparation process, moseying around in a tank, that's got to be a little different perspective that a lot of us can't really relate to.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, our Army is very highly sophisticated in that tank. God, that tank is something else. It's very high tech. And, I was younger then. I didn't understand the magnitude of war and that sort of thing. But I'll tell you what, being in that tank, the safest place to be was that hull. The driver in the hull, when I started out as a driver, which everybody does, we'll actually go from loader to driver. But, you feel safe and secure in that, and I was younger, so I didn't understand the magnitude of war and things of that. But I felt pretty safe. I had a great crew, great company, and they trained us very well. And, we had some successful outings. So it was amazing. It's amazing to fire that thing. It's amazing to ride around. It's pretty smooth, like a Cadillac. It's got good suspension.
Coach P, you and I are brothers of the same military mind. I was in the United States Marine Corps, hoorah, and the United States Navy. So thank you, sir, for your service, hoorah. So talk about the, right. Yes, sir. So talk about the just how important it was to learn that kind of discipline. What just discipline, learning and going through boot camp and going through all the experiences that you did, Coach P, and the experiences I went through in the Marine Corps and the Navy. Just that common brotherhood of being in the military together, and how that has served you in your life and gotten you to where you are right now.
Yeah. So, when you go through basic to be a tanker, it's not the regular, 6 or 8 weeks. If you go in regularly, your MOS. So mine was 4 months, and we called it OSUT, One Station Unit Training in Fort Knox, Kentucky, in the dead of winter. And that's some pretty, we had a lot in the class. We didn't graduate a lot. Very difficult training, because you were soldiering first, and then you were also learning how to operate and be a tanker. So we had battle buddies back then. You had a guy that was always by your side, and it was a tight brotherhood. And, to this day, you still talk to that guy every once in a while. Bringing that to football, I always tell these guys, when you're out there on that battlefield, which is now the arena, those are your brothers, and you don't have anybody else but them around. So you got to learn to trust each other, and you got to learn to have each other's backs. And that guy's got to learn to, trust you and know that he has your back and you have his. And that's a really strong bond, between guys out there on the field. And that's what we preach in this culture, so it ties in, all of that ties in to that brotherhood and that love for each other and that bond. So, and we got to get that going right away. We got to mesh right away in order for this to work.
Coach Pena, I echo the sentiments of my partners, Kevin and Ed, when I say thank you for your service, and thank you as well, Mr. Cole, for your service back in the day in the Marine Corps as well as the U.S. Navy. Coach Hudak, you are involved in football in more than one way. You're actually a instant replay field technician in the NFL. Tell us a little bit about that and how you came to get involved in something like that.
So I guess to make it simple, because there's a lot of things that I can't disclose and would have to point you to the NFL PR department. But if you've ever been watching a game and a play goes to replay and you see the guy standing there holding the Microsoft Surface tablet, that's me. So that's a kind of Cliff Notes version of it. But how I got into it is kind of a more interesting story. It was back in 2013. I'd played, for 3 different indoor teams. But the third one I played for, I switched over and played linebacker because, I was older. I had some kids. So my wife thought, hey, I'll let you play, but you're not playing receiver. You got to play linebacker where you're doing the hitting instead of taking the hits. And of course, very first game, I break my finger. So it didn't really work out too well. But
man,
going into 2013, and that year, the NFL used to have regional combines. So on top of the combine in Indianapolis, they would have different ones at facilities all around the country. And it was late January that year, and one of my friends and mentors, who was a 9-year, ended up playing in the NFL for 9 years, said, hey, for what you did in indoor ball last year, you should give it a shot and try out at one of these combines as a linebacker, because you don't have NFL receiver speed, but you can make it work as a linebacker. So this was, again, end of January. The combine was mid-March, and I was maybe 200 pounds. And they all said, hey, we need you up to 235. So that gave me 6-7 weeks. And the day of the combine, I was at 235 exactly. But you can imagine, and I was able to put good weight on, so it wasn't just anything I could eat, but all the drills, it was like doing with, a 35-pound plate on your back because of how quickly I gained the weight. But the thing that set me apart, I mean, I have to admit, in the 40, it was a disaster for running a 40 with that much weight. It wasn't quite Matt Kayward slow, but it was pretty slow. But where I set myself apart was, they have 200 guys at these regional combines, right?
Yeah.
And that was just for offense. So there's, just for defense. They had 200 more coming for offense that afternoon. So they want everything to be efficient. They want you to move from drill to drill as quick as possible. So I made note of that. And anytime I was up, I was making sure I was ready. 2 of the drills, the broad jump and the yell drill, I finished for the top of linebackers that day. And if you compared it that year, you could put in the top 5 for anyone who participated in the combine at those drills. So I was hoping that, a team would say, well, he's not quite what we're looking for in some areas, but he showed this quickness, showed this power in these drills, and maybe take a chance. End of the day, they called us all in the meeting room at the Seahawks facility, and there's some representative from the NFL that said, hey, later on tonight, we're going to be at the hotel. We're going to have a chicken wing bar and dinner deal. Come on out. There might be some opportunities to get into officiating. And, it just went right over my head. I never give a thought to officiating or anything like that. So, it was like in one ear, out the other. But then when I was walking out, one of these people from the NFL grabbed me and said, hey, we're impressed with what you did today. You obviously came in prepared. You're ready to go and we noticed that. So we really want you to come to this dinner. And again, I kind of thought, they're probably telling everyone that.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I did some sightseeing in Seattle. I'm like, well, you know what? Free chicken wings are free chicken wings, right?
You're like, hey, is Pete Carroll going to be there? Let me ask that really quick. Is he going to show up at this chicken wing dinner?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, it sounded like the people I wanted to talk to wouldn't be exactly the people there. So I just said, you know what? I can never turn down free chicken wings, right? So I went, and it was at a Hyatt, and I walk in, and it was me and one other guy, and then a table full of NFL executives and 2 officials.
Wow.
So,
Whoa.
that's
Time to shine, Coach.
Right. I thought I would walk in and, again, there'd be 100 guys in there. It would just kind of be, hey, thanks for coming. Here's whatever. So they gave us kind of a pitch on what it takes to become an NFL official. And, I didn't make any bones about it and said, yeah, that's just not something I'm interested in. But they said, well, you know what, we love getting former players into some of these game day operations positions. So let's get your information and stay in touch, and we'll get you doing something with football. So, 9 years later, I'm headed into my 9th season, and it's something I never would have dreamed of doing, but it's been incredible. So I feel extremely blessed to get to do that every year.
Coach, do you think it would be a more difficult job if you didn't have that NFL experience, becoming a instant replay field technician for the league?
Some of the people that I work with have that officiating background, and that gives them this amazing perspective on the game because while we're all watching the ball, they kind of have the keys to look out for. So they do things that way, where coming in as a player is absolutely helped me, because something goes on in a play and we say, okay, there's smoke there. I know that I got to get ready because, it could be going upstairs where they're going to look at it a little more. So it definitely, from an anticipation standpoint, it's been extremely beneficial.
Coach Hudak, all the way from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, a one-time Xavier Saint high school player. You talk about the track prowess. I mean, let's call it what it is, Coach. You've got a little background in track. You were a team captain for sure, 2-time letterman. So you could probably scoot a little bit. And when you came out of college, when you went professionally, I think you signed with Sioux City. You were 6'5", 220. That's pretty good playing weight right there.
Correct. Wow, you're dialing way back, going back to Xavier. But since you said that, I have to shout out legendary. I was lucky to play for the legendary high school coach, Dwayne Schulte, who just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. And yeah, since you mentioned track, that really track is what propelled me to be able to play Division I, because I was ridiculously slow as a senior. Just that kind of 17, 18-year-old lanky, awkward. But my senior year, there was a slot open to do hurdles, the 400 lows and the 110 highs. And, most guys wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, but I jumped at it because it was an opportunity to, go to the different meets with all my buddies, since if you weren't on varsity, you wouldn't travel. So I'm like, hey, there's a slot open, I'll take it. And doing the hurdles, it just unlocked something in me in terms of form and mechanics and stuff. So I owe a lot of credit to Xavier High School. And again, Dave Sullivan, Dwayne Schulte, got a shout out to them. Nice
usage of the term 10-foot pole too. Very clever right there. Weaving that one in, Coach Hudak. Hey, real quick one here. Some might say one of the biggest victories coaching-wise for you was that 32-12 dub as the Badgers from Prescott knocked out the Flagstaff Rangers in a 32-12 heavyweight mighty might tilt. Congratulations on that success. I'm sure maybe you're coaching one of your boys right there. That had to be quite fun to be a part of that game.
Yeah, it was both of them were on the squad that year, the way the ages group, and it was just a incredible group of kids to work with, and I felt privileged to coach. So thank you for mentioning that.
Coach Pena, let's talk to you for a moment. Really honing in now on the team, the Northern Arizona Wranglers. What have you seen? You guys had a tryout back in October of 2020. Obviously, COVID was still full steam ahead right then, so maybe you didn't have quite the turnout you did, but you guys were able to see some really quality players. And then we did a tryout just a couple of weeks ago now up in at Bradshaw Mountain High School. What are you seeing from the players that you guys have already signed, and then maybe some prospects that are still kind of waiting in the wings, if you will?
Yeah, we had a great tryout there in October. I believe we had 64, 65 people come out, and that was a really good tryout for us. And there were a lot of people, a lot of good people. I believe we signed 3 at the time. And then we had, this last tryout, I believe we had about 18 guys, and we were trying to, it was a little tough, but those guys came out and they were highly talented. They were very talented, and we gave them opportunity, and we put them through some drills and some live situations, and did the best with what we had. So my hat's off to those guys who travel like that, for at least a shot. At least to get their foot in the door somehow. I always think that that's amazing that they can travel that far for a tryout and give it their best, give it their all.
Oh, we got a video bomb. That's Coach B. Coach, how are you, sir?
Hey,
Coach.
Is Jayson letting Coach Hudak talk?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
It's been about an even split, wouldn't you say, guys, so far?
Pretty even.
Hey, Dom.
Hey, Coach. Good evening, sir.
Boy, I tell you what, if you look back at last week, that one with Coach Kayward,
them or Kayward?
you're going to have to ramp up, because last week we were about $140.
You know
You're
what
playing topper here tonight. You got to start jabbing.
What's that, Coach?
I think they get their feed from Sri Lanka tonight.
Yeah.
A little delay.
I'm 20 feet away, and mine seems clear. So,
So you picked the right room, Coach Hudak. Absolutely.
Hey, what I learned from last week's interview?
What's that?
He's in the next room too. Hudak's in the next.
What'd you learn, Coach?
Well.
We might be walking over here to get the.
I was going to say we might need to
might be
coming in
coming
with you, Coach.
Yes. Oh my
Get him out of that
goodness.
concrete
That'll do
bunker
better.
over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there is
little
cinder block
closer.
walls there.
Maybe
Here we go.
Istanbul,
Quiet it.
Turkey
A
now.
little better.
Yeah,
There we go.
Oh, technology, right?
Now we
Goodness.
got you, Coacher.
That's a little
Here
bit
comes
better.
Coach B.
Hey, you know what I
Oh.
learned? You guys did a great job. You know what I learned from last week's interview with K-Word? He loves his wife. Oh my God, he said that 100 times.
As well he should, right, Coach?
25th year, right?
25th year of marriage.
Behind
Yes.
every good man is a good woman, right?
Oh, I got a meeting with the team at 8:30, so I'm dipping.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's got a meeting in
Got
3
a
minutes.
meeting at 8:30.
I've got one
Excellent.
for Coach Pena. Let's talk DBs in the IFL, Coach. The rules and the challenges of playing DB in the indoor football
boy.
league. Any kind of rule clarification? Can you jam? Can we have press coverage? What can happen? What can transpire at the point of impact of the line of scrimmage? You got two guys in motion, double barrel action. A lot of times, there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
What
absolutely. All of
can you
that's
not
legal.
do?
We have lost Coach Pena. Great question, though, KDB, for sure.
The money
Talking
que-
about that
That
double
was the
barrel
money
attack.
question.
Can you jam a guy at the line of scrimmage? And then what, obviously you've got to know that the DBs have a slight disadvantage, right? With those guys firing off the line like that. Here we go. We got Coach Pena. He's going to come back in here with us. There he is. Coach, go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure what's going on here, but you can't blitz for one. So you can press man, you can be up in his face, you can jam him, you can do all of that. You can't blitz, obviously. But I'll tell you what, the game's not designed for defense. It's designed for offense.
Mhm.
So, and that's the name of the game. How many stops can you get, per quarter, to help your offense out to convert that, touchdown and get you guys up? If we can average about 2 stops per quarter, we're doing good.
And Coach Hudak, with that being known that this is a league that's all about scoring, how does that factor in with you and the young men you coach as the wide receivers coach, knowing that?
I think we're in a compressed field, so any play can potentially be a home run shot, and that gives us an advantage because not only can we have guys with a running start, but we can scheme around that and say, hey, this is what they're giving us, so let's take it, or let's take a shot, or let's if they're giving us 8, 9, 10 yards, we'll take underneath all day, march downfield. So there's so much we can do with that. I think one of the things that a lot of the receivers we're bringing in will really get used to learning is how even their motion, just leaning a certain way or bending a certain way or looking a certain way, they're already making moves to throw off the defense before the play even starts. So it's a huge opportunity for us to exploit that and put up some numbers.
Coach Hudak, what do you think? My first introduction to arena football was way back in the day in the early 90s with the Dallas Texans. And arena football back then was throw, and then throw a few more times. And now you take a look at the league today, a lot of stretch running going on, a lot of downhill running, not as much, aerial assault, still a lot of that. But talk about the difference between the game back then and maybe the game, how it's changed nowadays.
Well, yeah, I think we got to give some credit to the IFL for that, because I think even going back 10, 15 years ago, with some of the rules of the IFL and how they differed from other leagues, it really provided incentive to have that running game. So it wasn't just, like a 7-on-7 flag football scrimmage, it had that component. And as offenses have kind of evolved over the years, that's hit the indoor stage too, where, we could do a ride option. We can do an RPO. You can throw anything you want into the offense. And what that does is now, you got a defense that has to say, hey, we can't just worry about run or pass. We got to worry about, okay, is it a handoff? Is it a pitch? Is the quarterback going to pull it and run? Is he going to dump it on a hot route? I mean, there's so many different aspects of the game now that it just keeps growing as football grows. So that's what I love about this league.
Coach Hudak, that has to be really fun as a wide receivers coach to know you have that kind of flexibility that you can call all these different kind of plays, and you have the talent that can actually make those plays happen and actually get some scores and produce for the Wranglers.
Indeed. And with the athletes we're bringing in, there's so much we can do with them, because we're saying, hey, if on this route, they didn't respect you going deep or didn't respect the corner, we're going to run it again, and we're going to run it that way and take that area of the field they left open. So yeah, it's a ton of fun, and I can't wait to see these guys in action as we all kind of come together here.
Coach Hudak, do you have any Calvin Schexnaders or Randy Gatewoods emerging in that group? And how is the relationship with you and your wide receivers developing thus far early in camp and through tryouts?
I think that's a loaded question. I don't want to single anyone out, have them get too big of a head when we haven't even had day one here, and then Trey might need to order some extra large helmets or something. But all I can say is this group of athletes we have coming in, they're great men of character. They've obviously succeeded athletically, some in this league and some in others. So we can't wait to, again, see what they can do in our system. And we're looking forward to it.
Good job, Coach. Smart move.
I don't know what was going on in that bunker over there, so
that's okay. Coach
no
Pena,
worries.
That's all right. It's technology. But Coach Pena, I had a question for you. So Coach Bramante always talks about there's 3 levels of players: a red, a green, and a blue. For those who may not know or may not have watched some of our previous shows, explain what the red, green, and blue system means for the Wranglers.
Well, sure. So a red player is your player that, almost like a cancer almost. And he's your guy that if you're turning your back, he's cheating on his reps. He's a guy that's talking, bad about the coaches, talking bad about the players. One of those guys who's trying to, create dissension between, the other players and coaches and that sort of thing. So, we don't deal with reds, and we try to, eliminate those from the equation. Your green players are sort of your on the fence players. So they're your players that, can be swayed one way or another. They could be swayed to red or swayed to blue. And we like to get those guys to try to get to blue, Obviously, we want to get red to green and then green to blue. Your blue players are those guys that do everything for you. They're your leaders, your captains. They're they're those guys that will do things without you asking them to do something. We don't try to mess with those guys too much, so if at all. And, we rely on those guys to help us with these other cats that, to try to get them to that side. The goal is, we want to have more blues or less reds than the other team that day on game day. That's gonna really help us, because in a red situation, like we fumble a ball or, there's huge turnover, we want to be blue in that situation. We want to be calm, collect, making good decisions, that sort of thing to help us win the game. Those kind of guys, those are the people we want to be. And anybody can do that. The players can be, blue, coaches can be blue, as well. So we want to just stay in blue throughout that course of the game when things get heated and that moment gets pretty tight in there. So that's exactly what we preach, and that's part of culture. It has been for a while. We all wear these things, so it's very important. And I tell people that this is a living, breathing thing. It's real. I use it at my high school. My high school kids. So to us, it means that's what it means, and that's what we live off of. Live by, not only in football, but in daily life as well.
You're watching the Wranglers Roundup, and We are speaking with Jayson Pena and Coach Hudak. And gentlemen, just a quick programming note and a reminder for everyone, JP, Ed Cole, May 9th on a Sunday at 4 p.m. at the Finlay Toyota Center. You've got the Northern Arizona Wranglers on display. It's going to be a scrimmage open to the public, so that should be pretty fun. And one other programming note, JP, take us to the top. I believe that the broadcast for Northern Arizona Wrangler football will be broadcast live locally on Channel 7, I believe, in the Prescott area, JP.
I believe that is correct, Kevin. I haven't got confirmation on that, and we could possibly be broadcast on a local radio affiliate there as well for the game. So we'll firm up all that information as we get closer to the season. But yes, May the 9th at 4 p.m. there's going to be a scrimmage up there. It's going to be a great time. There's going to be kind of a season ticket party as well. We're going to be up there as well, and it's going to be a great time. Let's talk a little bit about leading up to May 9th. Starting this Saturday, I believe, gentlemen, correct, that we start camp. Give us a little breakdown on how that's going to work. It's going to be a 2 days type situation. Give us the 4-1-1.
Yeah, just what you said. We'll do 2 practices a day. Get the players acclimated to working out in the arena with the walls, the turf. Some days we'll go outside if it's not available. But what we're looking for is really to get in that routine of, Coach Bramante preaches. We get out there for 90 minutes. We use every one of those minutes. We're up tempo. These guys are going to be moving. So we'll start with, your warm-ups, then go individual, group, team, do some competing in that. Speaking from an offensive side, this offense that Landrick Brody's put together, it's a terrific offense because there's so much you can do with it, but also for coaches, for us, it really helps us evaluate, because if we're watching a play from a coaching standpoint, we can see it taking shape and go, okay, this is money. And then all of a sudden it's not. So we're sitting there going, okay, was that because of something the defense did? Or is it because there was something we should have done that we didn't do? So he's done a great job of putting this offense together. These guys can come in and learn it. And it'll just be, drinking from the fire hose, doing all that as quick as we can, because we got the scrimmage. Then, we got the Rattlers up here in almost 2 weeks. Coach?
Is that it? Go ahead.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, I mean, our sessions of practice are going to be pretty grueling. We don't have the time like we usually had in the past to get these guys ready. So obviously, the more practices we have, the better it is. With in between, we're doing meetings constantly with our groups, and we're doing installs and that sort of thing. But we're 90 minutes hard. I mean, from nonstop, we're moving at that whole 90 minutes, and our practices are tough. It's always been that way, with Coach B, and it's so grueling and so intense that when you get to that game, the game just moves a bit differently and a little easier for you. So that's what we practice. That's how we practice. And, we're going to be ready for it and get these guys as ready as we can, before game day.
Well, from my experience, when I see a lot of these teams prepare and they prepare in a grueling fashion, like you guys are talking about, you want to do that. You want to get the guys amped up on practice day. You want to make practice harder than the game, so that when it comes game day, these guys can just fly around and have fun and play some football, right?
Yeah, that's their reward.
Yep.
And I would imagine that you're embracing this challenge, that everything is coming so rapidly, everything is coming so fast. Like, oh my goodness, we're nearly 2 weeks away from the home opener against the Arizona Wranglers. But this is what we have in front of us. This is the challenge, and this is the gauntlet that's been thrown down. Okay, we've got limited time, but we're gonna get these guys together and get them ready for May 16th.
Yeah, and you couldn't have said it better, and especially this season's unique because a lot of these guys haven't played in almost 2 years since they didn't have a season last year. So you have that dynamic with a brand new team, and then with nothing needs to be said about who's coming to town for the home opener. So I'm going to tell my guys, I mean, these are games that people dream about playing in. So it'll be a great way to kick things off up here in Prescott Valley.
And who better to do it than the Arizona Rattlers? Who better to do it against?
You want to be the best, you got to beat the best, right, Coach? What are you guys' thoughts on taking on a ball club like that right out of the gate, right out of the chute? Say, hey, we want to go against the best competition. We want to have a real temperature check on our ball club and see where we're at and what things we need to, obviously they're going to expose some chinks in the armor, and you guys are going to do the same for them. Talk about the mindset going into a game like that.
You can't afford to make mistakes in a game like that. We've got to get all of that out before we get into that game situation. We've got to get all the bugs out before that. And that's how well we prepare these guys. Absolutely. We got to win them in the locker room first and get these guys to mesh, because some of those guys have been playing together for a while. That is a great ball club. That's one of the best, here. So to get a chance to face off against them and be competitive, it is a challenge, but we've had challenges in the past before. Nobody expected us to do anything. And I think we're going to be well prepared to have our guys well prepared for that situation.
Yeah. And it goes without saying, the job that Kevin Guy's done building that program, and, obviously a phenomenal coach. So he's going to have them ready to play. But on the same token, we're going to have our guys ready to go, and we're going to say, hey, you know what? No matter what happens, we're going to trust the process, and we have a whole season ahead of us. So it's you couldn't ask for more from a home opener.
Gentlemen, I'm curious, where you like to coach from on game day? Do you like to be up in the box, or do you like to be right there on the field? What's your perspective, Coach Pena? Your thoughts?
I've done both. I started, down below. I'm an offensive-minded guy, so I did play some defense in school. I played DB, a couple years, and being down there, it's a different atmosphere as well than being up top. But if you're coaching a position, you like to be right there in that atmosphere. Now, we do something different. We're not just spectators, we're not watching the game. We're watching our guys in that coverage. So when somebody else is out there like the offense, I'm not watching that part of it. And that's something you have to adjust to. Being a fan of the game, you can't afford to be a fan when you're a coach. And so, I've been up top as well. Coach Bramante had me up top the last, couple years. And up there, you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be able to feed the calls. You've got to be able to call the coverages. You've got to give great information to send down below so they can execute from down below. And I've had the opportunity to do both and get that experience. So, either way is really, beneficial for if you're coaching an actual group, a position, and then being up top, you're managing that whole thing from up top and sending out information on both sides of the ball.
What do you prefer, D?
It's Coach couldn't have said it better, where there's just two different perspectives. For me, you got to be close to the action. You got to be right there in the thick of it. But with that said, it comes down to us as a coaching staff to be able to communicate, use the resources effectively, because there's been times coaching youth ball where I'm right there, then, step back, see something from a different angle, from a different vantage point, and it's like switching a light on, seeing something completely different. So I prefer the field, but wherever the team needs me, I'll go.
And what are you guys' level of excitement in being a part of a startup program like this called the Northern Arizona Wranglers? First game coming up, we mentioned, let's see, make that 16 days from today. What are your thoughts being part of a startup program? A lot of people never get that opportunity.
Yeah, for me, fortunately, I was with the New Mexico Stars when they first started up. They ran a couple years, and then Coach Bramante came in the last year that we were there. So I got to start up the New Mexico Stars, which was in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Then they started the Duke City Gladiators with them as well. So I got to have that experience with them to start that up. And now we're starting this. So it's like every experience I've had, it has been a startup, and it's been amazing. Trey Medlock is an amazing man, amazing owner. He's done some amazing things in such a short amount of time, to give us this opportunity and to be successful. So in the past, it's been a little rough, because we're coming from programs where we started with nothing practically. I remember some of our first years at the Stars, we were sharing helmets, and wearing 3-year-old uniforms. So, to come this way, we never knew where we were going to eat or when we were going to practice and that sort of thing. So we've been at the bottom, the very bottom. And I'll tell you what, those guys played. They played their butts off for us, back then. And to come here and to be focused, on coaching, we still help out. As coaches, we're still doing everything else. We help out with the equipment. We're all pretty equal in that. So we help out, we have our hands in everything else. We're helping all the time with each other, getting equipment set up, doing all that.
We're just building office desks for the office before this call.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting them all prepared and ready. So, for us, that experience, for me, it was huge for me, to be a part of these three teams, to come in here and be a part of something, inaugural, I guess you would say. So that, for me, it's a great experience. It really is. And I'm truly honored to be here, and it's going to be great this season. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah, and I think for me, the word that would sum it all up would be fortunate. I feel extremely fortunate. I'm super excited. But the reason I choose that word is because, like Coach was saying, a lot of the times with expansion teams, there's bugs, there's trial and error, there's what to do, what not to do. And this has a totally different vibe to that because you got Coach B and his coaching staff coming in that have a culture built up. They have a background built up. So it's more than football, and anyone affiliated with this program can see that from the day they walk in. So it's so nice that it's not, well, we have this coach and then maybe this one's going to be helping out and we're not sure about him. It's a staff, it's a family. And like I said, it makes me feel extremely fortunate to be a part of.
Well, so not a whole lot of unknowns going into this, which you typically will have in a first-time startup program. What would be a lesson, maybe specifically for you, Coach Pena, being a part of previous startups before? What's the one thing you're going into this one saying, okay, I'm not going to do it this way this time. I'm going to do it this way, and we're going to have the perfect storm, the perfect marriage of the culture and everything coming together for this first-time team.
For coming in here, coaching the defensive backs, this is my baby. This is, we get to shine and we get to show what we can do. I've been a part of those 3 programs. We've had some success, in those. So, coming here, it's going to be, we just have to focus on coaching. We don't have to worry about where this is going to come from, where that's going to come from. We can focus on coaching and the task at hand instead of worrying about where our meals are going to come from or where the guys are going to sleep or where we're going to, sleep and that sort of thing. It's great to come in here and be focused on the coaching so that we give these players our best. And of course we're demanding perfection, but at the same time, we got to give them our best, and we get a chance to do that now.
Coach H, for you being a homegrown kid from up there, speak from a personal standpoint, what this means to you to come back in your home area, to be the wide receivers coach for the Northern Arizona Wranglers, and to represent such an incredible area up there in the whole Prescott Valley area. What does it mean for you to be where you are right now in your career and in your life with the Wranglers?
Again, just extremely fortunate, extremely blessed. This is a phenomenal community to live in, to work in. But I think that having this team come in and be embraced by the community, it's going to be huge. And that's one of the things about indoor football where, we fill the center up here and you got kids that are, 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old. They're not watching from 30 rows away. They're right there where they can get to know the players on that personal level and feel like they're involved in the game. So that's huge when you can bring that to a community from an entertainment perspective and a support perspective. So I just, again, just blessed that not only do we have this, but we have it with the leadership we do in Trey and with Coach Bramante and everyone he's brought on board.
And we have a saying that, for those first timers who haven't come, that if you come to a game, you'll be back.
Yes.
I like it.
That's
I'll
great.
be back.
I'll be back.
What's
I'll
making
be back.
you get a lot of money off that line?
You made a lot of money off that line.
My last two for you gentlemen. First for Coach Hudak, very impressed with your resume, if you will. I think you're currently employed at Embry-Riddle, an AD in career services. Are you still working on campus there as well? Maybe as part-time or as one of your third or fourth jobs Are you still involved with Embry-Riddle?
Yeah, that's the one that puts meat on the table. So
That's the breadwinner right there.
Working remotely, and I can't say enough about what they've done on campus this past year with protocols and stuff to keep everything when you have 3,000 students on campus. Just the precautions they've taken have really paid off. So yeah, I've been lucky to be working with them through all this.
Coach Hudak is a Missouri Valley Football Conference academic honor roll. It's nice to have a coach that you can look up to that got it done in the classroom. So he's got a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom to pass along. Coach Pena, my last one for you, just out of curiosity, have you back in 2006, the Rolling Stones played at the Idaho Center. Where were you, and maybe did you mix it up? Did you happen to run into that concert? The Rolling Stones.
No,
Idaho, folks. This is Idaho we're talking about here.
No, I was already in Albuquerque. Actually, after college there, I stayed in Albuquerque. I had a landscaping business for a good good number of years before I left, and just remained in the area there. In 2003, I'm a big golfer, so I actually played in some.
All right.
Some professional events back in 2003 through 2006. And then I had an injury. I had a shoulder injury that took me out of that one. I broke my collarbone playing in one of these semi-pro games.
To a knee and a shoulder now. Right?
But I came back. I came back, and I still play, just a couple weeks ago, I was in Mexico, and I played at the, Jack Nicklaus course there, the Vedante in, Puerto Penasco. So, God, it was a gorgeous course. So I can still play the game at a high level, so it's good for me to be able to, put football aside a little bit and play a little golf. But, I'm all focused on football right now. So
attack the pins, Coach. That's how I play the game. I attack the pins.
Absolutely.
Hey, it sounds like a little postseason Puerto Penasco trip on the horizon for the broadcast team and the coaches. A little hitting the links there as well. Why don't you guys take a minute here or two here? We talked about getting to visit with Coach Kayward last week and how much he doted on his family. Talk about a little bit, a minute or two with each one of you guys. Who makes it go for you guys at the house?
Yeah, so my wife, Lindsay, she's the rock of our household. I have 10-year-old Kellen, amazing son, and then he's got a younger brother, Braylon, who's 8 years old. And love those guys with all my heart. And then we're expecting our third right in September. So with
congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, like I said, can't say enough about the support that my wife has given me over the years through all these different endeavors. And I whittled her down to the point where when, she saw that the Wranglers were coming to town, she just knew that that I was going to go knocking. So can't thank her enough. And then I even got to go back to my parents. They're still back in Cedar Rapids, but they come out here all the time. They're going to road trip up with my sister to Bismarck when we play there week 2. So
all right.
Nice.
They did a great job raising me, and I can't wait for them to be a part of this as well, for all the support they continue to give.
Fantastic.
Coach P?
I have a little 7-year-old little daughter named Paisley Pena, and she's my world. She is my world, and she grew up in this world watching Daddy, play some golf, play some football, and coach some football. So she's my world, and my everything. And she'll be around here running around and, always by daddy's side. So that's my love of my life. And that's where I'm at with that. And it doesn't get any better than that. She's an amazing little girl. So it doesn't get any better than that.
That's great. How great is it to have that family, that love? That's you just know that they're down for you no matter what. They're down for you for good times and bad times. You have your family that you can always rely on.
Absolutely. That's blood. That's thick. And that's what we are. We're a family too. You can ask because, in the beginning with Coach Matt, Brody, and myself, that bond has survived, throughout the years. And we call each other brothers. We love each other. And, it's been amazing. When Brody was a player, we had this saying, Coach Matt and I, that we were 3 legs of a tripod. And, we added a 4th with Brody. So now we're stable. But we're adding more legs to that. We're adding more legs, more, branches to that. And it's great. I mean, Coach Hudak and I have, God, I can't even get your name right. I blew that one. We've taken a liking to each other, or at least I have. I don't know how he feels, but it's been amazing with the rest of the staff. You're going to see, I guess, talk to more coaches. Amber Dirks, who's coached with me in the past, the last few years, who also coaches with me at Arcadia High School. She's on our staff as well. So that'll be fun to interview her as well in the future. Coach David Moran who's another local guy here. So it's going to be amazing. We got Charles Fernandez coming up from Albuquerque. He's been with us since the beginning as well. So it's great to get to know these guys and to work with them, and we help each other and feed off each other. So, when Hudak's on the other side of the ball there might be some explicits, but we'll definitely be battling. So
all okay and all amongst family, Coach. The family aspect of this team is literally palpable. Since I've been around you guys for the first moment, I could tell it. The first time I talked with Coach Bramante, the first time I talked with Mr. Medlock, when I first inquired about this, it's all about family, and we are one big family. We talk about it all the time. We say it. You can call it cliche. Football is family, but it really is.
Yeah, and I always tell Coach Pena, I don't care what the other coaches say about him. I think he's a terrific guy, and but like you said, that's our job. We got to push each other. We got to push our players. We got to compete, and we're within that gridiron. So that goes there, and then afterwards we pick up where we left off.
Coach Hudak, are you raising those young boys to be? I know you're from Cedar Rapids. Is it a foregone conclusion? They're Hawkeyes, or I'm kind of partial to Brock Purdy out of Perry with the Cyclones right now. What's your stand on Iowa football in that scene?
I'll pretend you and say that first sentence.
There you go.
No, both programs. When I was at Northern Iowa, we played each of them for our money game, and where they paid us to come play. We beat Iowa State in 2007. I whipped them pretty good, so I have to brag about that a little bit. But so we raised them. We raised them to be Northern Iowa Panthers, and
okay,
that David Johnson really helped with that, because he was certainly a once in a lifetime player for our program. So that really help generate that excitement for some of these younger generations.
Coach Pena, you mentioned I was not aware that you were on the staff there at for the Arcadia Titans. We are currently putting together the Thursday night football schedule as we speak, and we are the broadcast team for that Thursday night football broadcast. So we're going to be talking with you and the head coach over there as well here in the coming weeks and try to get you guys on the slate for one of those Thursday night matchups. Well, what would be the game right now if we had to pick one right now? What would be the game? We got honestly 3 openings left right now on the Thursday night football schedule. I haven't even told these guys yet, but we got some killer games coming up.
Well, I don't know. I guess I should clarify that. I actually coach the tennis team there, the girls' tennis team. And
Oh, okay.
We're going to state. We're going to state tomorrow, actually. So
Wow.
we are in state. All 6 of my girls, the top 6 are in. So we got a singles bid and a doubles bid. So I coached that on the side. I did take high school football off this past season. I was coaching before that I was coaching with the Horizon Huskies, and we had a really successful season that past year. So I was on a great staff there with Ty Wisdom. Yeah, I was on with Ty Wisdom. Very fortunate that he gave me that opportunity to do so for that season. And, I found some opportunity there at Arcadia, tried to get in the door there, but that coach left a little late in that season, and then the new one came in. He was all filled up. Yep, he was all filled up. So, and then Coach called, Coach B called, and this opportunity came available, and I'm like, I'm in.
Because we stereotyped you, Coach, to be coaching girls tennis for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I thought
That might have been the last thing I expected, KD.
I had you right there.
I can play tennis at a high level as well. So
grass or
the
clay,
versatility is outstanding.
You said grass or clay?
Ooh, that's a good one. I have played on both. I had when I lived in Florida, I played, and that was nothing but clay. Played on grass a couple times. Grass is fast, clay is slow. So you gotta really alter your game a little bit for those surfaces. But I grew up playing it. We in Idaho, Nampa, Idaho, we literally had courts that were on our property that were right next door. That was our fence line. So we'd go on these courts and play with these wooden rackets that our parents had.
I've been tearing up the courts at the Arizona Biltmore on that grass lawn for a long time, Coach, with my Prince racket. So
there you go. I'm a bobble out guy myself.
Oversized head, the whole deal. All right.
No pickleball.
Very
no
good.
Pickleball for you.
No
Pickleball is really taking off. I tell you what.
Yeah, it has.
That's tight.
Popular. I have not.
I might have to get my old knee braces out, and we can go out and do a little bit of pickleball, get warmed up for the golf tournament postseason, right?
There we go. Hey, I'm ready for some golf. I hope Mr. Medlock can put together a golf tournament for us, and we can get that thing going.
Yes, well, wink, wink, and nudge to Mr. Medlock on that one right now. Right?
That would be
yes,
fun.
Indeed.
No
And we
pressure.
appreciate you guys coming on here with us tonight. We are more than excited to get things started here 16 days from now against the Arizona Rattlers on May the 16th, 3:05 kickoff at the Findlay Toyota Center. Thank you again for taking the time tonight and letting us get to know you guys a little bit better. And we are, once again, extremely excited for kickoff coming up.
Thank you all. Likewise.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, guys. We really appreciate you.
We appreciate
Shout
you
out.
guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Shout out to your IT guy for bringing you in one room. Huge bonus to the program, right?
I'll
Yes,
thank myself
indeed.
a little later.
Coach
Thank you, gentlemen.
Jayson Pena, the defensive backs coach for the Northern Arizona Wranglers, and Coach Darren Hudak. Thanks again, gentlemen, for joining us
Thank
tonight.
you, gentlemen.
Our color analyst, Ed Cole, and sideline reporter, Mr. Kevin Derryberry. Everyone have a great night. We appreciate the time. And Wranglers football on the horizon, just a couple of weeks away. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Thanks, Kevin, Ed, James. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right.